Hi, you guys. Welcome back. So today I am here with Jackie, who is one of our Rise Happiness Summit speakers, by the way. So if you haven't got your ticket for that, make sure you get it. That is coming up so fast. The link is in the show notes below. But she is an Akashic Records mentor. She built a six-figure multidisciplinary clinic in Burnout before becoming rich in time, energy, magic, and money. And she mentors service-based women who want their life's work to make them prosperous, right? And she also hosts the Cells Soul Source podcast, which I will make sure is down in the show notes so that you guys can go check that out. But I know we connected so much, as I follow you, and I am obsessed with your content. I just love everything that you're posting and, your stance on burnout and creating more of, like, you said, like the time, the magic, and the energy in our lives from reducing our burnout. So I would love to have you expand on that if you want. And I always like to ask, how you got into this. Like, what's the story?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on, and thank you for creating the Happiness Summit. What a wonderful experience. I'm really looking forward to that. So thank you for that.
Hey, friend, welcome to the Ready to Rise podcast. This is the podcast for ambitious, successful women who've checked off all the boxes: the career, the routines, the self-help books, and therapy. We've done it all. But if you're still feeling numb, stuck, or like you're just going through the motions, you're in the right place, because I've totally been there, and I've healed myself using the tools that I now teach. I got certified in them so that I could help other women do the same. I'm your host, Audrey Rose, a registered nurse and somatic life coach, and I'm here to help you stop just coping, stop just going through the motions, and actually start feeling good again in your life, feeling happy again. Each week, we explore nervous system regulation, emotional wellness, and rituals that are rooted in ancient wisdom, ancient practices, so you can stop just going through the motions and stop just getting by and start really feeling lit up and alive and fully plugged in again. This is about real happiness, the kind that fills your body, lights you up, and helps you create a life that you are obsessed to wake up for. So are you ready? Because I'm excited to help you feel like you again.
Yes, before I was a mentor, I was a chiropractor for 20 years. I had my first episode of burnout 2 years into my career. I remember walking into my boss's office. I worked for somebody else at the time, and he had been on holiday. So I was seeing my own patients, his patients. And by the time he got back, I opened the door and he went, "How are you?" And I just burst out crying.
Oh.
And the advice, like most people get, is go and have a break. You need a holiday. So that was my first experience of burnout. And over the next 20 years, I tried all sorts. I thought, I must not be healthy enough. So let me look at my nutrition. Let me look at my sleep routine. There must be a reason that I don't have enough energy.
Yeah.
Because at the time I was looking at everybody else and they seemed to be tired, but they didn't seem to be struggling as much as I was. So I thought it must be a me problem. I must be too
Ah.
weak. So I did all the health optimization things. And then I thought, well, I must need to organize my home. If my home was just more organized, then, it would take less time and I would have, more free time and more space in my diary. So I did all that. And then I thought, well, it must be a business problem. I'm just not very good at business. So let me get on top of my strategy and let me automate more. And I got more staff and I started to delegate. So over the years, I tried absolutely everything. Um, but it would happen on repeat. So I would work until I couldn't possibly work anymore. I would take a break. And in the space of that break, you look back and you go, wow, I really was pushing myself hard. I'm never going to do that to myself again. And then the moment you go back to work, you do that to yourself again. So yeah, I was caught in that loop for a very, very long time. And it is very common in particularly healers, but anybody who offers a service. If you have a skill that improves someone else's life, this is a very common thing.
I love that you said this about the home organization because I never realized that as a symptom in myself until you just said that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, how many times have I done that? I swear. Where it's like, and now actually in the more recent wave of burnout I've had, I did that too with like the meal prepping type thing where it's like, well, if I can just have that on repeat and get the same thing every week and just prep and literally eat the same thing every day, then that will reduce my burnout because I won't have to think about it. And it's
Yeah.
so funny how that is like these little ways that it trickles into our life big time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very pervasive, isn't it?
It really is. It's everywhere. Yeah. And I would love to hear so kind of your healing journey through that because I know now you help so many women to heal, and work for themselves to be able to reduce the burnout and all of that. But how did you get to where you are? And then we'll get into like how you help your clients and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got to the point where I was so burned out that my hair was falling out. I was crying on my way to work, from work, if anyone was kind to me, not kind to me. I was just really emotionally all over the place. I was going to bed earlier and earlier. Of course, that wasn't working. And I remember the moment standing in the clinic and tears rolling down my face, thinking, this isn't what I want for myself. I was making the money. I had a great reputation. I had a wait list of clients. The building was beautiful. On the outside, it looked like I should be successful. And I had all the metrics that I was told was success. Um, but that's how it felt on the inside. I remember when I hit six figures, my first thought was, who on earth wants to live like this?
Wow.
It wasn't, yeah, I did it. It was, oh, if this is what it takes, I'm not sure that I want this. So that was the moment in the clinic where I was like, right, this is not what I want for myself. And that's probably one of the hardest moments, like admitting that to yourself. After you've built it from the ground up and it's your baby, and now you look at it and go, not so much. um, and so I decided that I just needed space. I couldn't think straight. I didn't know what the solution was because I just didn't have any space. I felt claustrophobic, overwhelmed. I had too much on my plate. And so I sat down and I started looking at what are the things, because this is the moment most people go, right, burn it all down. But
Exactly.
I wanted to think about what are the bits that I really love and I want to do more of, and what are the bits that I do not love and I don't want to do anymore. So I really simplified it down in that way. And I hear a lot of people say, you need to focus on revenue generating things. You need to stop doing the things that don't generate revenue. But when you're so burned out, it's not even really about revenue. It's that your soul is crying out for some bliss and joy. So if you just focus on revenue generating things, you're still not really going to get the satisfaction that your soul is craving.
Mhm.
So the way I did it was slightly different. I sat down and I used the energy body method. So you've got 5 energy bodies: physical, energetic, emotional, wisdom, bliss body. So I sat down and I figured out how much time, number one, I was spending in each of those bodies. And number two, how much I valued each of those energy bodies. So for people that don't know, obviously your physical body is your physical body. Energetic body speaks for itself. Emotional body speaks for itself. Your wisdom body is where you play. And your bliss body is where you are still. Can be meditation, but it's presence. However, you are 100% present. So I realized that I spent a lot of time and I valued the physical stuff. I was always doing. If I had half an hour spare, I would do something. I would clean the house, I would do exercise. I was a doer.
Yeah.
But I spent very little time, even though I was a yoga teacher at the time, I spent very little time playing and very little time meditating. That was a luxury to me that I could only have if everything else was finished. So you can imagine how often that happened.
Yeah.
So that was one of the very first things that I did. I started to consciously spread my time, my energy, and my value across those 5 areas. And even to this day, the play part is the one that I have to concentrate on and consciously add in. It is still the one that I would find most challenging, and I would prioritize the least, which usually means it's the one you have to prioritize the most. So that was part of the journey. Um, and then again, using my energy bodies, I started becoming obsessed with what my body was trying to show me.
Mm.
Every emotion, every hint of jealousy, every little bit of curiosity, every flinch in my body, every contraction. And I started using those to find what my body believed. And that led me to the survival loops, the programming that was causing at the root of my burnout the entire time. So I started using that method plus the Akashic Records, and I just started rewriting all these beliefs and all these, conditioning that you picked up from down the line, and things that were modeled to you. I just started rewriting all of those. Um, and that's when I really started to enjoy my work again.
It's back. You guys, I'm so excited. The Rise Summit is back. If you caught us last year, you already know this free summit is where it's at. I have over 40 speakers, 40 speakers, experts in health and wellness, relationships, just overall living your best life. They are coming to chat with us about all things happiness. I literally have women that know so much about all kinds of the aspects of our lives that can cause us to feel really miserable or really just basically not like ourselves. So this summit serves to help you come back into feeling like you again, to be you again, to really find your happiness and feel like yourself again. So come and join us for free. All of the information is in my link in my bio or down below in the show notes, so you can come and join us once again, absolutely 100% free.
And that's when I started to think, oh, every other service-based woman I know is operating under the same survival loops. And that's when I pivoted into mentorship so that I could help other women.
I think it's so like just so many things that you speak about just jump out at me. And it's like, I see so much of like my story, it's like so similar. And it's like that high achieving woman who wants to do. And I think what also plays into it is that societal type standards. Like you said, like, okay, we made a 6-figure year and we work in a beautiful building and we drive the nice car and like all these little things that, I see, right, that we have. And it's like, but then we reach this point where we might not be happy with all of that and truly happy in our bodies, living in our life every single day, which is like the whole point, right? And, but we've worked so hard for what society says we're supposed to have. And for me, it was always like those material milestones growing up where it was like the car or a certain bag or a certain thing or a certain house or whatever. And it was like, we have to have all of these things and we have to work so hard to get them. But then once we have them, it's like that wasn't the happiness benchmark. It really wasn't the thing that was going to move the needle. And into those 5, like the different energy bodies, I think that that's so interesting. I've actually never heard of that before. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like as you're speaking about each of the different ones, I'm like, oh, where am I honoring those in my life? Because we don't always honor all of those. It's easy for us to think that doing and growing and, just constantly being productive is the best way. But
Mhm.
it's really not always what it's all about.
No. But what they helped me uncover was absolutely phenomenal. I had no idea that this was going on in the background. So
Mm.
every time a patient would say to me, "Oh, I can only come after work. Is it okay if I come at 6:30?" And in my head, I would be going, well, no, because I've been here since 8. I haven't had a break. I'm absolutely shattered. I really want to go home to my family, but out of my mouth would come yes.
Ah.
It was almost impossible for me to say no. Um, so I would work way, way too hard. Even the money that I was making was subconsciously only okay because I was suffering enough.
Yeah.
My body believed that it wasn't allowed to be easy. So even though I was making that money, my body believed I had to suffer, I had to struggle to get it. My body was actually afraid of money. So when it came towards me, I didn't know what to do with it. So I got rid of it. The whole money burning a hole in your pocket. My body wasn't comfortable receiving it, so I would kind of no, like a hot potato, get rid of that. um, the whole, like you say, being overproductive.
Yeah.
I thought my entire value was in what I could do for other people. I didn't realize I had my own value as a human.
Yeah.
um, but these are so, so common.
Yeah.
Um, and because we are generally high achievers, we fall down, we feel really tired, and then we go, well, I must need to roll my sleeves up and I must need to try even
Yeah.
harder. And so we push, push, push um, until your hair falls out and you're standing in your clinic crying.
Exactly. Yeah. It's that whole there's this reel going around. I haven't done it so I can't like reference, but it's going around and it's this audio that's just like just push through, just keep going. I forget the words, but it's like just keep going. You got to roll your sleeves up and you got to get back at it. Drink some water, let's keep going. And it's like that is not, but we've all been there where we're just constantly telling ourselves that like, well, if I only, just get an energy drink or just get some more coffee, like we can do this. And it's like, oh my gosh. But getting ourselves, I'd love to touch on this next, is getting ourselves to that point. And I know for you, you just described like finding the energy bodies and that kind of thing. But for the woman who's so stuck in that routine of pull up our sleeves, let's get at it, let's get coffee, like how do we start to switch that mindset?
Yeah. So you got to start choosing you, which for
Mm,
most people is super, super uncomfortable.
yeah.
And the way that I did it was I took my brain out of the equation and I literally used my body. So every time somebody would ask me to do something, and I'd roll my eyes and I'd go, oh, okay. I would notice the sigh and I would notice the rolling of the eyes,
Yeah.
and I would kind of disregard what my brain was saying because my brain is running that old loop. My
Yeah.
brain is going, you have to say yes in this situation, otherwise you're a bad girl. You have to
Mhm.
say yes in this situation, otherwise you have no value. You know, so I realized that that's what was going on, and I thought, well, I can't really trust my brain because it's going to keep telling me the same
Yeah.
things. So I'm just going to experiment, and I'm just going to see what happens if I trust my body. So every time my body gave me a no in that kind of way. So you're looking for things like if your body deflates, like a sigh, an eye roll, any kind of like you lose energy, you lose motivation, you feel lethargic. I started to use things like that as a barometer of when I should say yes and when I should say no. Because when you've been a people pleaser your entire life, you have no idea when you're supposed to say no, when it's okay to say no, when it's in your best interest to say no. So I started learning by using what my body was telling me. Um, and there are kind of patterns to this. So once you start to see a couple of things, oh, my body did this, my emotions did that, that's what it's telling me.
Yeah.
So eventually you can put the pieces together. But yeah, I started doing what my body wanted rather than what my brain was asking me to do. Because we know that your brain is just trying to keep you safe in the same lane. I like to think of her as like, you know, a mom who's overly protective. And she would rather you were just sitting on the sofa with her with a blanket over your knees so she knows where you are and you're not going to get into any danger. Whereas you are now the teenager who wants to go out clubbing at 12 o'clock at night, you know. So I started to look at it like that. You know, she's just trying to keep you safe, but we're going to go to the club.
Yeah. Like we have to enjoy, we have to add all these different things, and we have to pay attention most of all to everything that, that our body's trying to tell us. I think for me that's been a huge lesson, and it's something that I haven't mastered yet, or I haven't been able to fully master, I guess you could say. It comes in waves along the journey of like, okay, what's going on? What do I really need? What do I need to pay attention to? And I think too, once you start to pay attention to it and you start to find the things that light you up, then comes the piece of really adding that in. So for me, I have like my little moments of like when you were saying the bliss body, I was like, oh yeah, like I have come such a long way in adding those parts in. Back in the day, it was like shut down everything, like we spoke about, full production mode. But now it's like, okay, today is blocked off for an entire day at the ocean, or, today we're not doing anything else. We're just going to have the meditation moments. We're going to go through a stroll in the park. We're just going to relax. But it was not always like that. So I think that comes to that piece too of like adding those things in.
Do you remember the very first time you gave that to yourself? You went, okay, I'm going to block this day off and I'm going to go to the beach? Because that moment, I call them thresholds, that moment where you actually give it to yourself, because there's a very big difference between, oh, one day I should do that, and the day you actually schedule it, get yourself in the car and out the door and go. That is a threshold. That is where you have just collapsed the loop and rewritten a new pattern. But you actually have to take the action. You have to get yourself out the door and go to the beach. Do you remember feeling any resistance or any kind of little voices in your head going, we shouldn't be doing this, but you went anyway?
Yeah. It's so funny because right when you said that, do you remember the first time? I like can so vividly remember the guilt of, and so there's this huge tug of war. Like, I should go, I shouldn't go. We should, I have so many things to do. The to-do list is so long. And then it's like, okay, we get there. And then it's this massive guilt. You cannot relax. We have so much to do. And the first few times that I was trying to get myself out of this, pattern, basically, it was, okay, you can bring your laptop. Oh my gosh. I would literally bring my laptop with me.
Negotiating with yourself.
And if I didn't bring my laptop, I would be doing stuff on my phone while there. And now it's taken, I don't know how long it's taken, but finally I'm in the place where, like earlier when you had said the 100% present, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm finally in a place where I am 100% present when I'm there. But it took several trips of this negotiation, of the guilt, of all of that.
100%. Yeah. I remember the first time, this is a slightly different loop, but the one where you are so hard on yourself, you expect so much of yourself, your standards are so high, you believe that you have to earn your worth, you have to be a domestic goddess, you have to be running the best business, you have to be doing all the things. And I remember it was a sunny day. I was on my laptop trying to perfect my captions for my reels and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It was a sunny day. And I remember giving myself permission to go and lie on the sun lounger. And again, that was a threshold for me. And I did it.
Hey friend, I am so excited to pop in here really quick and announce that the Rise retreats are back. So if you've been feeling exhausted or irritated or like you just overall lost your spark, but you can still go to work and crush it, right? Pick up the kids, do all the things. Then you feel later like you're just going through the motions, right? You're numbing with wine, you're leaving all your friends on red, you're yelling at your husband because he cannot find the ketchup again. Like, absolutely, I've been there because it's right in front of his face, honestly. But still, right? This is the sign that your nervous system is trying to just tell you that it's overwhelmed. It can't take anymore, right? And I know that this is trending on Instagram, but the thing is, you really don't need to just quit your career that you've worked your brains off for, right? No. So it's time to just process some of the stress, regulate our nervous system, reset, so that we can hear ourselves again, right? We can relax, we can feel like ourselves again. And some of us don't really know where to start. Like that was me a few years ago on my burnout journey. I had no idea where to start when I started to feel all of these things, exhausted, irritated, all of that. And that is what Rise retreats are for. So we are going to be meeting for a 3-day experience. This retreat is going to be in the hills of Castro Valley, California. It's so freaking gorgeous. This is like a huge, beautiful gated house up in the, mountains. We have all of these really beautiful balconies that are like in the trees. I can't even explain. Like, pictures are on IG. You have to check it out because it is freaking gorgeous. We are going to be meeting October 9th through 11th, and there are just very limited spots. I keep them very intimate so that I can truly dive in with each of you and kind of tailor the experience, right? A few spots are already taken. I know. And the link is in the show notes, or, DM me personally so that we can connect. We can get on a little coffee chat and just find out if it's a good fit for you. And you can come and join us.
And I cried for about an hour on the sun lounger going, oh my God, which, that's just your nervous system moving through some energy. But I did. It was such a simple thing. Externally, nobody would know that was even going on. But I cried for a good solid hour on that lounger, partly in relief that I'd kind of collapsed that part of it, but partly in a bit of sadness that I had been so hard on myself for so long and denied myself these moments for years because I couldn't give myself the permission at the time. So yeah, they are hard to cross. But the gold on the other side when you do cross them is so good. So good.
I love it. It's like such a good feeling, and getting even like the glimpses of that, like even between, we want to heal the pattern and we want to work through it. But even when we get those moments where we're really just able to feel like ourselves. And I know that sometimes going through burnout, healing can be us going back into the old patterns and all of that. But when we do have those moments, it just feels so good. And then we get to, I guess, continue working towards it till we finally get to that kind of like, I want to say self-actualization, but we get to that, we get to just finally be ourselves really and let go of the guilt and all of that. And I think for me, I would love to hear your thoughts on this, but especially because you are such a high achiever as well. I think that it's like hearing the thoughts about we can still be quote unquote high achievers, or we can still be very productive, because I think there's this part of us who really doesn't want to let go of that. And when I started healing, the burnout, it was like this big resistance piece to, I don't want to just become the girl sitting, with the blanket on or that kind of thing, right? I don't want to become back to that version of me that's not out there doing things, that's not very busy and making an impact on society. But I think that my personal thought process is that that's fake, right? Like we can absolutely still be so impactful and living a big life, but still not having so much burnout. So I don't know if I'm making sense. Hopefully that's
Yeah, it's totally resonating with me. So when I simplified everything, I really stripped it right back. And I decided that I was going to choose happiness over money. So I was just going to work enough to kind of pay bills, but I was going to take back all of my time and energy. I wanted to be home, and I want to grow vegetables, and I want to cook from scratch, and I want to exercise. And, I want a simple life. I don't need to be going on jets. So that was the choice that I made at the time. And then the universe came knocking and went, no, no, Jackie, this is not your purpose, darling. Because when you are here in service, you love helping people. Yeah. We love being part of those transformations. We love the aha moments. It is fuel for us. So I always wanted to be in service. I wanted to make a difference. We have so much experience, so much knowledge, so much to give, that it did feel like a waste for me to, just be home and keep all of that to myself. But I did go through that process where I thought, no, I have too much to give. So the journey for me has been, I will always be in service. But how do you serve and not give yourself away? How do you serve and not deplete yourself? So the place that I had to get to was that sovereignty. So when I stand in front of somebody, there is no part of me that is still looping in, I need them to like me. I need them to pay me. I need them to get better because it's my responsibility to fix everybody. I have to earn my value in some way. There's no part of me that is bringing that to the table. And, people throw this sovereignty word around a lot, but it's actually a frequency. It's a place inside you where there is no push-pull. There is no force acting on you. There's no, oh my God, I'm avoiding this because I don't want it. There is no flinch. There is no contraction. There is no reaching like I need to do this in some way. It's a really still point inside you where you don't need anything from anyone around you. And when you stand in front of somebody and serve them from that place, it feels so amazing. It feels so amazing. And that's the place that I want people who are in service to feel, that their cup is full and the person in front just gets the overflow. We kind of were taught that our energy belongs to the world, but it doesn't. It gets to experience the joy that we spill over. And there's a whole lot of stuff, mixed in that. There's a whole lot of stuff around, money and healers, thou shall not sell their gifts, that kind of thing. I mean, it goes back. It's a very, very deep thing. But if you can get to that place of sovereignty and serve from there, oh, yeah, it feels amazing.
Good. Oh, I love it. Just how it lights you up. Like, it's like, that's the place that we want to be in. I love that. Yeah. Can you tell us, I just have like 2 last questions as we wrap up. I would love to hear, first of all, like, where can we find you? How do we work with you? All that good stuff. And then second of all, I always ask for like a happiness hack, just something that, we can go and do today.
One of my favorite practices, when I was rewriting this whole burnout loop, was I realized that I had to take care of myself. Now, as somebody who was eating well and sleeping well and exercising, I was doing it to myself. I wasn't doing it for myself. So I realized that there had to be this change in perspective in the way I treated myself. So the next time you are either applying oil or cream to your body, try this. So take your awareness to the hand first that is applying the oil and just feel what that feels like. And then take your awareness to the limb that is receiving the oil. So say it's your arm.
Sure.
So when I first did this exercise, I couldn't feel the arm. I couldn't feel the limb that was receiving the oil. And I thought, oh, this is weird.
Yeah.
Because we're so used to giving. We're so
Yeah.
used to giving. We have no idea how to receive on any level. How we do one thing is how we do everything. So I kept going, I would do this over the course of days, weeks, months. And I kept going. And eventually I was like, oh, I can feel what it feels like to receive. But I'm realizing that I'm really quite harsh, and I'm doing it really fast, and I'm not paying any attention, and I'm really quite hard with it. So then I started softening, and I started really being tender and really applying, the oil or the cream or whatever it was. So even in those tiny little everyday practices, it doesn't need to be something that you do for 5 hours after a 10-hour workday or something. Just little switches in your everyday life that will help you start to soften, treat yourself differently, maybe even pamper yourself. And every time you do that, you're showing your body it's okay to let your guard down now. It's okay for you to receive some love and attention now. So yeah, that was so simple, but really, really helpful for me in the beginning. So take that and practice that. And then to find me just on Instagram, I'm active on Instagram. Love that. I am doing a bit of Threads at the moment, just a bit more conversational stuff on Threads, which I'm loving. So find me on either of those.
Yay. And then from there, can we figure out like how to get deeper into your world and all of that? Perfect.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I cannot thank you enough for coming on and just sharing your wisdom with us. And it's my dog agrees. And it's such a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this all day. I knew it would be gorgeous. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Ready to Rise podcast. It means so much to me to have you here and to get to share all of this with you. If this one resonated, literally just send this to a friend, share it with her right now, because there's so many women out there who really need this information. And I would also love it if you could take a quick screenshot, throw it up on Instagram, tag me at Hello Audrey Rose so that I can connect with you and get to know you. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. Have a blessed and beautiful day, and I will see you next time.